Welcome to the show, everybody. Sorry, I'm starting a little bit early because we got dinner with the fam tonight. So I've only got about an hour and a half of the show instead of 2 hours tonight. So I decided to back up and do an hour and then half hour because dinner's at 6, but I can continue to, it's not important. The important thing is I'm here with you right now, and we're gonna cover some stuff today. Now, first of all, hello chat room. Welcome to the show. Good to see you. Like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. Obviously, you'll have to hit the like, and maybe when I'm on vacation or something, or while I'm on tour, I should probably just tell everybody to do the notification bell, but I don't think you need it. You guys know when I'm here. It'll pop up in your feed. You'll go, oh, awesome. That's up to you. I don't feel like pressuring you into watching the show, and you can watch it later if you need to. That's it. Anyways, I'm obviously with country pre red state rural broadband installation that it's coming here, but it's not here yet. And of course, time with family. I'm rotating my schedule around. So forgive me if I'm stepping on anybody else's programming toes. That is not my goal. Um, and yes, I am indeed early. Hello. Remind everybody when they come in that I'm early for a reason. And yes, put an angry Hal emote if you're in Facebook. Oh my God, I can't believe. You know what you should probably do? This might work. I think this. Yes, happy first birthday. Thirst. I can speak. I'm fine. I'm good. Thank you, Booklet out. Thank you. Biden for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Happy 4th. Gonna be good. And I can tell because all the right people are pissed and freaking out, and all the wrong people are kind of settling in that they're screwed. So we'll be fine. Now I'm going to cover a bunch of that stuff today, and I'm going to try. I might have to do some dip in and dip out just to save us all on time for the record. But while you're here, hit the like, subscribe, become a member. If you're on Twitch, subscribe. If you have Amazon Prime, it doesn't cost you a dime and it helps support the show. Patreon.com/HowSparks, etc. And everyone, when I switch clips, will someone in the chat please remind me to do a restart when I do those, or do a reset? Because that'd probably help immensely. Anyways, here we go. A couple of things. Let's start in with, I'm going to show you at one point, let's see if I get a good clip of it, an interview that ProPublica did with Biden, unedited. They just released it on their website. It's from 9 months ago, but they just released it, warts and all, essentially, and it's perfectly good. It's shockingly reasonable as an interview, and there's no edits in. I think they cut out a minute that was just staff trying to get Biden to leave and say we got to get out of here, and he keeps talking anyways. But that's in there. We'll cover that in a minute. There's a couple other things I want to get to. The other is, why is Brian Kilmeade standing? Jonathan Turley says that the guy who represented him in his impeachment and is always waiting to throw himself in front of the legal bus for Donald Trump. He says Biden is the most anti-free speech president since John Adams. Fucking hell. The other thing is, and I'm not sure this one yet. Yes, Trump called in. We'll start with this, just so we can contrast to the ProPublica interview. Trump called in to Lou Dobbs because you can only have one frighteningly weird looking dude on screen at a time. I suppose besides myself. Hello. Um, and we're going to jump right into that, and then a couple other surprises. So hit that like and remind everybody we're here and all that stuff. And yeah, there you go. Yeah, John Adams is, I like, uh, it's a reference almost no one will get in that regard. It's just so stupid. Anyways, it's his attempt to appear like he's a legacy lawyer. Whatever. Anyways, hi. So all right, here we go. This is him calling into Lou Dobbs's book closet. Wait, is the audio going through there? I don't see it. Hold on one second. I'm gonna make sure. Nope, I don't think so. Oh, I know why. Give me one second. The I believe it has to do with something like this. Okay, there we go. Now it'll come through. Now he's interviewing. Okay, here we go. There it goes. Same picture from 2016.
Is obviously reverberating with all sorts of emotions. Give us a sense of your emotions when you first heard the news.
Well, I was honored because the ref left. They are just you just don't know where they come from. It's hard to believe when you look at how bad they are for our country. But they're constantly playing the ref and criticizing people.
Okay, so word has gotten out that I guess to Trump eventually that because this is new that everybody accused him of working the ref before the CNN debate, and again, he can't even capitalize on what Biden gave him. What would be your first comment if you had allegedly won a debate the way Trump had, and Biden had allegedly had the most catastrophic? Think about you as a candidate. I mean that sincerely. Anybody within the sound of my voice, what would you do if you, let's say, you believe what Trump is saying, or you are up against Trump, and he had a debate performance like Biden had? Now, obviously, in this scenario, you would also have had to lie your ass off and been him in this one. But the opposite side, right? If you were on the, what would you do? What would you do? How would you relate to the audience and all this stuff? Would you go on about working the ref or something? No, he got called out for working the ref beforehand, and that diminished, he thinks, his win. So that's why he's talking about it. What a fucking moron!
To get good decisions out of him, and you see it. It's like Bobby Knight, the great basketball coach. He'd throw chairs, he'd do everything. He said, no, I'm not going to get that call changed, but I'm going to get the next call changed. You know, that's what they do. They play the ref. But in this case, it didn't work. They are.
All right, nobody knows what the fuck he's talking about. That he says the left are playing the ref, trying to be because they're going to get the next ruling from the Supreme Court because people are complaining about what the Supreme Court ruled as far as immunity.
I really think that the Supreme Court should be. It's a very proud moment for the Supreme Court. They did the right thing. It was a strong ruling. Some people thought they may come in with a very weak ruling, and that would have been very bad for.
Also, by the way, for the record, my opinion, they split the baby. Ultimately, the biggest benefit they gave him was to kick this down to the courts and delay it towards, closer to the election in that regard. They gave Jack Smith an accidental win by making him have to basically do an evidentiary hearing to say this stuff qualifies as official duties. This stuff absolutely does not. Those hearings in themselves have been heard. I've heard them called a mini trial before the election, which will happen around September, which is it's a stupid thing that if Biden, if Biden wanted a bigger gift besides the actual trial happening before the election, this is it.
Immunity for the president. You have to have a president. Otherwise, and you understand.
Is he choppy or is it me? I can't tell if Lou Dobbs is trying to get him, is reacting to the fact that the stream is choppy on him or not. Hold on. Let me back up and see if magically if it does.
Is not going to do the job that the president was supposed to be doing. And you understand that probably as well as anybody, Lou. You've long been talking about this subject. And this is a very monumental ruling, very for having the courage to do what's right.
I you in
Okay,
that
this is obviously a weird audio thing. This was a live stream that they did together, so
without any surprise to anyone, I'm sure, watching this broadcast. But to think that the attempts at intimidation have been rampant for really 9 years as they politically persecuted you, your family, the Supreme Court justice.
hang on. No, nobody was politically persecuting this dude, or especially the Supreme Court. Now, what they will say is that going after Kavanaugh for being, a rapey McBeerhead, was, that was like, oh, that's where we drew the line. And it's many ways, their reaction to that is what sort of made Amy Coney Barrett able to just kind of squeak in without much pushback. That and the fact that all three of his Supreme Court justices lied under oath that they viewed, say, Roe v. Wade as the law of the land, and of course believe that nobody is above the law, including the president. That was clearly a lie. They all said it, and they didn't mean it, and they ruled accordingly. But there's enough flexibility in how they word those things, and the fact that they punted it back down to the lower courts, that gives them, plausible deniability to try and work these things. Because again, these are people picked by the Heritage Foundation, not by Trump himself, because they're heat-seeking missiles meant to destroy a particular right or privilege or program.
Republican leaders. It's just a moment in history that, as you say, the courage.
Also, what do you mean the courage? What's courageous about protecting the president from immunity, like by having immunity for official acts and not for personal acts, and making the distinction or the method of distinction murky? That's all they did. They just made the method of deciding what qualified as official act or giving the president a defense in some cases that, no, I was doing this officially. I was trying to protect the election integrity, not keep myself in office. That kind of shit. The ellipse was a campaign event. So everything that came from him speaking to the crowd was a personal event. The will be wild statement or whatever came from campaign and from personal, his campaign Twitter feed, not the POTUS one.
So many in Washington, D.C., emanated from one man. And there seems to be fairly universal conviction on this part as well, that you were the one who introduced the idea of courage to the Republican Party, and that it is.
Uh-huh. Yeah. But why don't you just say it, Lou? Why don't you just say, fuck John McCain and his broken shoulders? He introduced courage, did he? Is that what he did? He introduced courage to the Republican Party? How? By throwing everybody else in front of the bus for him if they didn't choose to leap cult style?
It's now truly your party to lead.
Well, yes, into the gutter.
And you are the perfect leader. Many compare.
Thank you, North Korean Lou Dobbs. You are, yeah, he is. He is the perfect leader for MAGA Republicans. Yeah, completely full of shit. Always been lying about his net worth, his his I guess his plays with the ladies over the years, that it's all been kind of a manipulation and bullshit. As a serial sexual assaulter, he doesn't have anywhere near the game he has with women, so he's had to take it the same way he's operated outside and around the law to keep his businesses afloat. It's not because he's a good businessman. It's because he just has no morals in a city where there's plenty of room for rats to make it through the cracks if they want to.
And your leadership critical to the survival of the republic itself. Your thoughts?
Well, it's an honor.
It's an honor, Lou. I don't know how you manage to talk with your mouth full, but those words are beautiful. Luckily, my toadstool is very small.
That you say that, especially that you say that, because I know where you come from. I know your knowledge, your level of knowledge is at the top.
Oh, do you? Give us an example. Where does Lou come from? What's his level of knowledge? This is how he kisses ass like to a supporter, makes them feel worthwhile when he actually has no idea about anything other than that they blow smoke up his ass.
And for you to say that is very nice. And look, we need courage in this country. The country we're a failing nation.
No, we are not.
We're sadly and badly failing nation right now. We have a man that has no capability whatsoever to be president. And you.
Okay, first hit on what would effectively be the debate performance. No different than anything he said about Biden before, though.
And he's just not. We need greatness, and we're just going to be failing to a level that we're not going to have much of a country left anymore.
All right. Again, if you're going to go after the guy for stumbling while he speaks or not making sense, word salad is not the solution.
May not have another election. If we keep going, this will be our last election. This is such an important election. This is the most important election.
What do you mean if we keep going? You mean your campaign?
In the history of our country. And I used to say at 16, 16 we had problems with the border, but it was very bad, but it was nothing compared to what it is right now. Right now, they're allowing
Yeah, I blame the wall.
millions and millions of people to come in from other countries, and not just South
No, they are not.
America. And they're coming in. Think of this: they're coming from mental institutions.
Again, same fucking talking points. How do you
We've never even
respond?
imagined.
Hold on, this is very choppy. How would, again, you're coming out of this debate. Your opponent stumbles like crazy. All you have to do is do a sweep up and maximize. Come in there, sweep up any talking points you need to, you needed to clarify. Shit, you do one policy drop, you'll get 5 points. Where you actually put forward a bill or something. Now, obviously, you wouldn't be Donald Trump if I was speaking to you and you actually had the capability of doing this. But consider that with who this is.
Would be coming into this country, and they're just pouring in. Now, what's good about that? Politically, what's good about that? Some people say they do it for the vote. Some people say they do it because they hate the country. Some people.
Yeah, by the way, those some people are you, dumbass. You're the person saying that.
Say they do it because they're stupid. But regardless, and we have to stop it. We have to stop.
It's weird. It's weird. This feed is
But
odd.
we're really going to be in big. We're already in big trouble, but we'll really be in big trouble.
To that point, Mr. President, everyone knows that this is going to be a difficult period, not only the remaining months of the campaign, but the first years, or at least of your presidency, will be very tough. The policy.
They already were. This would be the last years of his presidency if he got back in, which he won't.
Choices that you will have to make, that you will have to undertake the missions to both secure the border, secure the nation's national security.
What do you mean? Secure the nation's national security. What do you think the bathrooms at Mar-a-Lago are for, Lou Dobbs? I mean, honestly. How much more secure do they were in a bathroom next to a storage room with a padlock on it. Now, was the padlock ever actually locked? Who knows? But it was there. That's all you need, Lou Dobbs.
Well as focus on what must be done to restore prosperity and peace to the nation.
Also, compared to the rest of the world coming out of the pandemic, we are a prosperous nation. Also, we are at peace. We're helping Ukraine, we're helping Israel, and we're helping the Palestinians, but we're not at war with anyone. We aren't. You could say Ukraine's a proxy war, but it's one that Russia picked, not us. We didn't goose them. There was nothing from the Biden administration that said, we got to get Ukraine into NATO right away. And then that triggered what Russia had planned on doing that they started doing 8 years ago.
Because we are not the farthest thing, but a far thing from a nation at peace.
This is like watching a gibberish competition. We're not the farthest thing, but we are a far thing from at peace. So you mean we're not in the Afghanistan war anymore because Biden got us out?
Your thoughts about priorities as you have been leading your campaign and taking the battles straight to the president, who has done such a woeful job of securing our national security and absolutely restoring prosperity.
Okay, I'm just saying everybody on the right owes Biden an apology because at least Lou Dobbs hasn't been back and forth across the Atlantic 3 times in the last month, dealing with peace process in the Middle East at all hours, and I don't think he has a cold right now, but every bit as bad as what people said Biden was like, and never had a stammer.
So we have to immediately close the border, and we still want people to come in, but they have to come in through the legal process, and we can do.
Well, then the border won't be closed, will it? Obviously, the ports, the border would be open. Crossing points would be open. How open they are, this is gibberish.
That. We want people. I want people, but we have to.
Yeah, Mar-a-Lago needs foreign workers. No American wants to work there for that shit wage to be treated like that. Are you kidding me? Only people from destitute third world countries would put up with that kind of crap.
Secure the border immediately. And that has to do with not only people, it has to do with drugs, it has to do with human trafficking.
Well, all right, if you want to secure it immediately, pass the border bill. Again, think about this. Think about the Biden performance at the debate again, and what everybody around the internet is saying. And then look at Donald Trump. First of all, not showing up on camera again, phoning it in literally, and then rambling this blathery bullshit. Please tell me that Donald Trump has it together better than anyone. I honestly think there's a real reason for this. One is that he's afraid he will defecate himself, and he's figuring if he's on the phone, you can't hear it.
It's at an all-time high.
Also, no, it isn't. Border crossings are not at an all-time high. Drugs are not at an all-time high. Overdoses are not at an all-time high.
We have to immediately start, the term I use is drill, baby, drill. We have
The term you use? Yeah, you mean the one you stole from Sarah Palin, who is also a dipshit?
we have more
Oh my God, we're going.
than any other nation, more than Saudi Arabia, more than Russia. We have to drill. Have to get our energy costs down. That's going to bring inflation down. But a lot of great things can happen. One of the things we're going to have to do is we're going to have to go to the.
We're going to have to obviously nationalize the oil like Venezuela, right? How else do you drill, baby, drill? They got 9,000 unused leases. How do you make them drill? And I don't want to do like Dana Bash and Jake Tapper's job, but what the ever-loving shit? I'm dead serious. How in the world does anybody let this drill, baby, drill horse shit float when they have more leases than they know what to do with? What he means is drill in Anwar, and it's just because he thinks he can get it and somebody else didn't. But we already have the highest output in the country. There's no guarantee that any of that stuff would come online in any reasonable sense in the next 3 to 5 years if they did start doing it. Meanwhile, ruining one of the biggest freshwater sources in North America and national forest preserve. And I mean, we don't need it. We do not need it. What we need to do is, because it would just go out into the market anyways, and the oil companies have no impetus to raise production so much that it lowers their price per barrel. At a certain point, there's a bottom end where they're overproducing. And unless we're gonna, and this is the only way he could do it. When Donald Trump says drill, baby, drill, what he means is he will make the U.S. government subsidize oil drilling. It's the only way you can get him to do it. We pay them to produce more, in which case we're using tax dollars for that, apparently, to lower the cost of oil and gas, which we used to do back in the 50s and the 60s largely. And it obviously a lot of those have maintained over time, but we did it early on so we could kind of goose the entire system the same way we're doing with wind and solar right now to make that transition. The government shorted up for a period of time so we could transition over to it because it wouldn't have grown on its own in a reasonable time period.
General President Eisenhower was very big on deportation of people that came in illegally.
Right.
And we're going to have to go to that. We're going to have to deport tremendous numbers of people, and we're going to start with the criminals, and we're going to start with the people that come out of the mental institutions. We cannot.
All right, Hal. What are you going to give? What, sanity tests? What are you going to do? Check everybody who comes across the border for a hospital wristband? Honestly, what the fuck is this? Anybody who has a mask like the late great Hannibal Lecter, we're going to stop them at the border, and we're going to go, you, sir, are fired. You're fired. For real? What the fuck are you talking about? What is that?
Not have them in our country. It's not sustainable. It's not sustainable. Our whole quality of life. Look at what's happening. I mean, I had lunch yesterday with the mother of a young girl who was killed by horrendous people. 12-year-old girl, by the way. But you see that all the time now. You're seeing it all.
No, you don't. And also, um, there are allegedly millions more people coming into the country than there were under Biden than there were under Trump, if you ask him. There's also almost the exact same number of migrant criminals, of kidnappings and rapes and sexual assaults, and yes, there should be zero, but there's no way to guarantee that. And again, like we live in a porous world. People are going to find their way in to commit crimes. The idea is like how do you deal with them once they happen, and you keep them from reoffending or something like that. But there is an equal amount, like the crimes committed by illegal migrants has not gone up under Biden. It's one of the most static criminal stats we have. Now, there's a lot more attention paid to a bunch of these by certain members of the media, specifically the right-wing media, for obvious reasons because of its political weight, and it bolsters their position. But if the number of people are anywhere near what Trump is saying came in under Biden, and it's this much higher, then per capita, migrant crime has gone down immensely.
Have it,
But who's counting?
and we're not going to have it. Peace and prosperity back to our country, but we're going to have to deport a lot of people. They have people coming in by numbers. Take a look at Venezuela. Their crime rate's down 70%, 70.
Also bullshit. Not even close. And a big portion of, by the way, the drop in Venezuelan crime is like El Salvador and other countries. They've been locking up their gang members in mass.
2% over a relatively short period of time. And it's not because of any other reason other than they've taken their gang leaders and their drug lords and everybody. They've moved all the.
Hold on.
Finished. It'll be all. For the sake of the
Wait a minute. I got to back this up. For some reason, the audio's choppy.
drug lords and everybody. They've moved them into the United States. They've moved all their criminals, literally. By the time
They literally haven't. They literally have not.
they're finished, it'll be all. In fact, I'm surprised it's.
Yes, that's what they're moving all of their criminals into the United States. They're just moving them in. And apparently they're doing this by airdrop or something because apparently these people are released from Venezuela and El Salvador, and they walk all the way across Mexico without committing a single crime, so that they end up getting caught or killed or something like that. They can hold it, even though they're crazy or super violent, until they get to our border, and then as soon as they get in, it's just rampant. Imagine this. Okay, let me see if I can find in this case what would it be? Yeah, hold on. I'm gonna open a new tab. Hold on one second. That let's see, Venezuela gang. Let's see, like population. Let's see, yeah. The largest criminal gang. Venezuela's the largest criminal gang operating across major cities in the United States, with at least one of its members connected to the death of a police officer. Hold on one second. This is the Washington Examiner. I need the number of them though. I need the volume. Let's see. Like, okay, Tren de Aragua, the Aragua train, Tren de Aragua, is the largest criminal organization in Venezuela. It has 5,000 gang members, all of them. They're run by Hector Rutherford Guerrera Flores, alias Nino Guerrera. He was incarcerated in Tocoron prison, which functions as the organization's de facto headquarters, which they just re-seized. Yeah, so the Aragua gang. So they're saying organized crime top 10 for 2023. I'm trying to find the actual number. But seriously, the volume of people, he's saying they're going to drop all of them into the country. The amount of crime that we would see on our streets, if that were even close to the case, you wouldn't be able to step outside. Like all the stuff that Trump says about you can't even walk outside, um, I don't suppose that number is going to be available anywhere. But if they dropped, whatever, the 18,000 gang members, much less the other criminals and stuff, into the United States, the violence on the streets everywhere would be, again, you wouldn't even be able to memorize or visit the families of any of the victims. You wouldn't be able to memorize the names of any of them because there'd be too many.
Taking them that long. And that's true with many other countries too. You look at crime rates are down all over the world. You know why they're down? Because
they spiked after COVID and then they went back down because for a time period there were both like not enough cops and people like that. People had died. There wasn't a lot of support structure. Courts were slower to act. People got turned loose or broke free in a bunch of these countries. And then, of course, all that started to wind down.
criminals are tough. So this is baby stuff. These are tough, hard, vicious people. And they're coming into our country and they're destroying our country because we have a president that has a low IQ. He doesn't know what the hell he's doing. And we have to change that. And
Okay. By the way, same attacks as before the debate. Nothing changed. And like the low IQ stuff, he says that about people all the time.
it's always tough because as soon as you bring one person where
I don't know why this is choppy. Like,
person who's with a beautiful wife and beautiful children, and they make a mistake and they end up on the front page of every newspaper, and they think that all the killers, all the people that have killed people, are all wonderful. So it's a very tricky problem, politically tricky, and a lot of traps all over the place. But we have to get the bad people.
okay, I think I think what he's saying as a lunatic is that bad people, immigrants murder somebody, they do something terrible, and then there are good people, and people think those good people are, they group them in with the murderous immigrants. That seems like the logical statement. What he ends up saying is the exact opposite, which is, hold on, super fucking odd.
A lot of traps all over.
Yeah, hold on. And then the other thing is like, maybe he's aware that rounding people up won't be politically tenable.
He doesn't know what the hell he's doing, and we have to change that. And that's always tough because as soon as you bring one person with.
Okay, hold on. And also, what we have to change the fact that Biden doesn't know what he's doing. Whatever.
Have to change that, and that's always tough because as soon as you bring one person where you make a mistake and you bring a person who's a beautiful father with a beautiful wife and beautiful children, and they make a mistake and they end up on the front page of every newspaper, and they think that all the killers, all the people that have killed people, are all wonderful. So it's very tricky, very tricky.
Okay, by the way, there's been a lot of people almost like translating Trump to English who've posted this clip on social media, making the case that he's really, what he's saying is that it's politically very difficult to round people up, but you just got to do it. And he's definitely arguing for mass deportations in this whole chunk. But I got to say, that's just gibberish. This is, and again, this is not the pressure of a debate. Again, this is not a man who's actually president right now. This is not, any of that stuff that Biden might even have a cold of whatever as an excuse. He's calling into Lou Dobbs. Where's the pressure? He talks that Lou Dobbs couldn't, if Lou Dobbs kissed his ass more, they'd be in a roadshow buddy cop version of Human Centipede. Chat room, help me out on this. I almost like I owe you guys an apology. Is that I have a tendency to try and interpret a lot of this shit when, to some degree, I probably just shouldn't. It's just garbled nonsense. I understand why, like, if I was Biden and I was at a debate with him and I'm looking over him, I'd have the same look on my face that Biden had. What the ever-loving fuck are you talking about? You know, and it feels a little bit like he's trying to cover his ass before they do it. Let's listen to this again, because again, a lot of people are sharing this that he's going to be an authoritarian and he's going to do his, mass deportation, which is absolutely something he wants to do. But lost in that argument is that he's fucking talking nonsense.
And they think that all the killers, all the people that have killed people, are all wonderful. So it's a very tricky problem, politically tricky, and a lot of traps all over the place. But we have to get the bad people. We got to get them out, and we got to get them out fast. They're killing people all over the place, and you see it every single day now. You're seeing it, people getting killed by the Biden migrants. I call them the.
No, you don't. But do you see what I mean? Like he found his way finally to the scare tactic as almost like a knee jerk after almost like half a minute of just like blather.
Biden migrants, and that's exactly what they are. Nobody would have done what he's doing. Nobody. The radical left, I guess, liked it. I don't even think they knew about it. I don't even think they like it. But who, and when you think about it, who could like it? Who could like men playing in women's sports? Who could like open borders where people are pouring?
Again, he just like he goes to rally points because the men playing in women's sports thing he brings up, he always gets applause, outsized applause from the diminished crowds that are showing up, the dwindling crowds that are arriving. And by the way, can I also say for the record that post debate, Trump's rallies are not going to get any bigger. Just seriously, they're not. You're not going to see suddenly he's got 8, 10,000 people, 20,000 people back at his rallies again. Seriously.
And who could like being mandated to buy an electric vehicle that you don't want because it doesn't go far and costs too much?
Again, by 2040, you think what do you mean go far? They have a 300-mile range. The time to charge them is the thing, not how far they go. You can gas up in a couple of minutes. It takes you about 45 minutes to charge up your electric car. You stop and have a meal. It's good if you're driving 300 miles in a stretch to stop and stretch your legs and do that. It will actually spur some growth, and bring back the little towns you see in like the kids movie Cars, right? Which as soon as cars got bigger range, people didn't need to stop for gas as much and it killed all these little towns along Route 66. You could talk about reviving those as part of the electric car conduit across the new Route 66, the Lightning 66, and Lightning McQueen could be the storyline. And I'm just tired of solving everybody's problems for them. But that would be a great, future forward way of delivering this to the country instead of going like instead and saying we need our fuel and stuff for bigger vehicles, airplanes, battleships, shit like that. And a car, which is especially most people's cars, drive the same 9 miles in a circle every day, don't need that kind of range. And yet they have it. And you can, if you have solar panels, your car's free at a certain point.
They're not.
And again, you can be off grid with solar. You cannot be off grid with gas. At some point, and if you don't believe me, watch The Road Warrior for fuck's sake. Can you imagine The Road Warrior as a movie if cars could be charged with solar? What's the plot of The Road Warrior? I'm dead serious. Hold on, chat room. So I just watched The Road Warrior again the other day, right? What would I mean? That movie would be it. It'd be a short. What it would be is a bunch of these assholes fighting over gas, and there'd be like all these gleaming electric cars silently sitting on a hill going, "Hey, you guys want to go down and watch the rednecks fight over the last tank of gas?" Right? Literally, solar cars, like electric cars, and improved solar cells and all that shit would just flatten the entire Road Warrior series, except for the first one, which I think is a standalone Death Wish movie. But whatever, right? Let's all drive out in our electric cars to the edge of the valley and watch the rednecks fight over the last tank of gas. I mean, honestly. Yeah, battery tech is improving. Sodium ion batteries are growing in use. You won't even need lithium for it. The first solid state batteries are now available. Again, the carbon 14 nuclear diamond batteries are on their way. It'll probably be about 5 years away. Like, come on. And if you want a loud car, switch to hydrogen, you dumb motherfuckers. Anyways, other than that, I have no opinion. Here we go.
It's just terrible what's happening. So we're going to change it all around. We're going to change it around very fast.
The
And also, no, you're not. No, you're not. You're not going to turn anything around really fast. If you could, you'd have done it the first time, dummy.
tremendous. The intricacies of it, the depth of these issues are tremendous. And the nation understands, I believe, without question, what an important and difficult challenge awaits you in this nation. And I am encouraged
Why, Lou? Because Trump already doesn't understand any of the issues in front of him, and they're just going to get more complex.
by every poll that it's showing just how much the country is depending on you, supporting you.
God damn, this is straight up North Korean. I'm getting embarrassed.
In means for you to succeed. God bless you, and thanks so much for joining us here this evening. And we look forward to the next challenges that await all Americans.
What do you mean? Besides listening to you, Lou? Good Lord. So I'm sorry. So Trump managed to like squirt out what, an 8 minute on the over the phone interview, and all he gets is this rousing ass kissing. That's, by the way, that's yesterday. That's that's not months ago or whatever. It's just kind of a little toss away. This is post debate Donald Trump on his A game going on Lou Dobbs. Lou sounds like shit. Yes, they both do. Sorry. Yeah. Um, right. This Lou sounds. That's, yes. Thank you, 250K You're watching House Sparks Mega Worldwide, live from Kentucky, or as the Chinese would call it, Kendaji. See, every American state has its own sort of sonically similar Chinese name, as discovered when I was over there. The one specific about, like California is California, and Seattle is, like Seattle City, the city is Seattle. They tend to do those things. Kendaji, Washington is the state. Kendaji means bite the big chicken in Chinese. It's one of the few that overlaps with something funny and sort of state related. Yeah, Lou looks like shit and sounds like it too. But you'd have to be that withered to actually think Donald Trump knows what he's talking about. Now, meanwhile, let's go over here. Let's go over to this is a ProPublica interview. You guys can watch the whole thing. If I don't do the whole thing, it's on ProPublica's site. There it is, ProPublica. Yeah, let's just jump in and give it a listen. They posted it unedited. They posted it unedited specifically after the debate.
Can't start without acknowledging how wrong I was the last time we sat down nearly 4 years ago. I did not expect the 2020 campaign to go well, and here we are.
Well, I'm optimistic, and I thought we could do that well. And remember, in 2022, I thought we were going to do well too. I think the means in which people are tracking polls now, they've kind of lost their focus, and it's hard to get it done. You know, it's a lot.
Your democracy speech.
Right. I don't know why the audio's choppy in this thing for me. It's just odd. Sorry, guys. That's on my end. Something's up.
He's changed a lot.
Since you gave your democracy speech in Philadelphia a year ago, we've had orderly midterm elections, no violence, and the beginning of legal accountability for former President Trump and other January 6th defendants, no civil unrest. Could the threat to democracy be smaller than you think?
Well, I think the opposite thing's happened, John. I think that
Hold on. This is my
maybe the first.
this is not on Biden. This is my computer being choppy. I think it's the heat.
This is sort of the last gasp, or maybe the first big gasp of the mega Republicans. And I think Trump has concluded that he has to win, and he'll pull out all the stops. I mean, the quotes he uses are just, I never thought I'd hear a president say some of the stuff he says. And so I think that, and you see what's happening to mega Republicans are doing in the House. They don't make up a majority.
I don't. Yeah, okay, hold on one second. I don't know if this is related to. Maybe I'm gonna pull this page down, guys, and this page to sleep in case it's just being weird. Iron a shirt with my laptop right now.
As you think about the threat to democracy, do you think of it specifically as the refusal to accept election defeats and peaceful transfer of power? Or is it more broadly democracy, the Electoral College, the nature of the Senate, the gerrymandering process that sometimes thwart the will of the majority?
We should never condone violence in a democracy. But I think it's well beyond that. For example, the idea, when I talk about democracy, democracy is sort of what surrounds the underpinning democracy, the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, all those things that provide for the certainty that everybody gets a shot. And so, you know, we the people, I know it sounds corny, but that's what we're happening now is designed to prevent that from happening, from the people's voice. For example, he wants to change the way the civil service works. He wants a whole new category that is not answerable to the civil service rules, but only answerable to the president. Those kinds of things.
Let me ask you about one specific issue.
Right. By the way, that was a little known story around Trump at the time, specifically referring to the fact that they were gonna, you know, that he wanted his own like secondary shadow cabinet to all the other cabinets that existed there. So there'd be these people that, you know, that's why he wants acting heads instead of having to get them with Senate confirmation. If you just rotate through acting heads, then they'll do what you say and they don't never have to pass Senate muster. And they're like, well, if you can do that temporarily, why not just make it sort of permanent? Or even have a subcategory of people that carry stuff out and your main head can go and bullshit Congress and say whatever they have to do to get in there, and then you put somebody in that pulls their strings while you golf.
Of tax increases for corporations and wealthy individuals to pay for some of your programs. They're very popular in the polls, but few of them passed even when your party controlled the Congress. Is that a failure of democracy or just politics?
It's more politics. Look, when I got elected, remember everybody told me that we're not going to anything bipartisan, not going to get it done. Well, we surprised some people. With one vote majority, we were able to get about half of
Hold on, let me back up. Sorry.
number of things passed, and about half of it was bipartisan. So I don't think it was a consequence of the parties. It was a consequence. The things I'm worried about are the institutional changes that are attempted to be made.
Well, speaking of that, Speaker McCarthy has advanced an impeachment
Okay. That's right.
On the basis of innuendo about your son, but not evidence of wrongdoing by you. He's done that partly to try to keep his job, partly to persuade some of his most extreme members not to shut the government down. It so far has not worked. And
No.
it looks like they are going to shut the government down this weekend. What does that say about the current Republican Party's ability to govern in our constitutional democracy?
I think this is two things. The speaker's made a terrible bargain in order to keep the speaker
Hold on.
with the Constitution.
This is gonna drive me crazy because I believe it might also be related to the browser. So give me 1 second. If I switch browsers, maybe it'll be tighter. Sometimes it doesn't work, but I just want this to be smoother while we're at it. Forgive me. So I'll move this over here. See if this does it. Sometimes that's the factor.
Government down this weekend. What does that say about the current Republican Party's ability to govern in our
Go, and we'll see if I can get back in here. Pardon me, guys. I'm just trying to keep it as smooth as I can.
constitutional democracy?
I think this is two things. The speaker's made a terrible bargain. In order to keep the speakership, he's willing to do things that I think he knows are inconsistent with constitutional processes. Number one. Number two, I think it says that there is a group of mega Republicans who genuinely
Hold on 1 second. Sorry. It
want
is
to have a
browser.
fundamental change in the way the system works. And that's what worries me the most, is the change in what constitutes, for example, the idea that we'd be in a position where they're willing to say that it's okay for the president to talk about, he said, I am your retribution.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all these weird things that are being said, and they seem to be encouraging it.
You've said that most Republicans are not MAGA,
I agree.
but they're being
That's the other thing too. Is there's a reason why this did not get as much attention as it should have, because this eats into the narrative that he hates everybody who voted Trump or voted Republican.
driven and intimidated by the smaller number who are. If January 6th, a new presidential campaign and a government shutdown does not motivate that majority to regain control of the party, what can?
I'm really worried if that's the case, and that's why I think that I want to increase the focus on the fundamentals here. That democracy, literally our democracy, is at stake. And
Hold on a second.
it's by altering the institutional structures that protect it. And I think that I think we're in real trouble if that's not the case. But I'm convinced that part of it is communicating to the American people. This is bigger than political disagreement. It's beyond. And when you talk to people, like for example, the speech I recently made on democracy, I made about 4 major speeches on democracy. Mm-hmm. Initially, with notable exceptions, people thought, what's Biden talking about here? Well, you know, the data showed that over 60% of the American people, they were worried too. And that's one of the reasons why 2020 turned the way it did, 2022 turned out the way it did. And so I think it's important that to give people some hope that we can get through this. Look, we're on the cusp of being able to do, not because of me, not because of my presidency, the cusp of being able to do some really big things in America.
Speaking of institutions, rule of law is an essential feature for a democracy. Do you personally have confidence that this current Supreme Court
Remember, this is before the immunity ruling and some of the other stuff.
is upholding, will uphold the rule of law?
I worry because I know that if the other team, the MAGA Republicans, win, they don't want to uphold the rule of law. They want to get rid of the FBI. I mean, the things they say, and I think that somehow we got to communicate to the American people, this is for real. This is real. If they were to take over, if they were to have their way, and but I do think at the end of the day, this court, which has been one of the most extreme courts, I still think in the basic fundamentals of rule of law, that they would sustain the rule of law.
My colleagues at ProPublica have documented undisclosed gifts for justices from friendly billionaires. And in the case of Justice Thomas, appearances at events for donors of the Koch network, which wants reduced regulation of business in a pending court case. Justice Alito has said that calls for stricter regulation in Congress don't work because the Constitution gives no authority to the Congress to regulate Supreme Court ethics. Is he right?
It's a tough call whether we can. I think we can. But let's skip over that. What does the Constitution call and expect of the court? The court. And the idea that the Constitution would in any way prohibit or not encourage the court to have basic rules of ethics that are just on their face reasonable.
Do it themselves.
Do it themselves is just not the case.
Another constitutional question. There are some legal experts.
By the way, and I want to point this out. Hold on, let me bring up this other page of stuff and talk to you guys. Whoop, click here. Chat room. Sorry about the choppiness of it. That's on me. If you want to watch the whole thing, it's it's pretty clean. It's again on the ProPublica YouTube page. It's a reasonable, confident conversation about real issues, and Biden can, discussing, the Constitution and the sort of the rules-based order and all that kind of stuff. This is just 9 months ago, and this is obviously after October 7th, but before the many flights back and forth and having to basically the G7 and all that kind of stuff. You're watching Hal Sparks Megaworldwide. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. Now, like I said, I don't have a tremendous amount of time. I've got about another 15 minutes or so. And meanwhile, let me show you what's on the other end of the spectrum, shall I? I think, yeah, Biden spoke today. Okay, so I have a theory, as I have many, that there are things that the White House is going to plan that will particularly provoke Republicans and specifically the MAGA types over the next, I don't know, especially the next 2 months, that will basically drive them into a situation where if they respond, they look like assholes, and if they don't respond, they look weak. And one of the things, I'm just having dinner with family and stuff. It's 4th of July. So, and I won't be on tomorrow for the 4th, just saying. I'll post pictures and that kind of stuff. And then I'm traveling on Friday. So Friday morning, I will be traveling. So they're probably not a morning show now. And I'm sorry, we were supposed to have Titus on and I couldn't get a time on that. So we'll probably have to punt it to Monday if he's available. But anyways, in covering the next couple of days, I apologize if it's a bit slipshod because of the nature of it. It's nobody's birthday. It's just the nation's birthday is tomorrow. All right. One more thing though before we go, and this is where are they? Yeah, here we go. This is the argument happening on the other side, and let me tell you, MSNBC and all those guys and Michael Ian Black and whoever else and Bill Maher and whoever else complaining that that Biden needs to go and they got us all this. Okay, this is who you look like. I'm just letting you know. This is when the rest of us see you speak. This is who we see. This is what you look like to us. Like if we had on our They Live sunglasses, this is what we would say. This is uh, a guy, Mark Davis, I think is the guy on the left, and he's filling in for Golka. And the guy on the right is Matt Boyle, who's a one of the he's the Washington bureau chief of Breitbart. Simmer down from Salem News Channel. So I mean, we're getting all the talking points all at once. Let's give it a shot. Oh, and there's obviously an ad.
Shakes
Problem.
do to your body.
I don't know.
This is a protein drink. You've got almond butter.
There you go.
Watch what protein shakes
I don't
do
know
to
why
your
I'm doing.
body.
That's not what it
This is
does
a
to my
protein
body.
drink. You've
Simmer
got
down.
almond butter.
Welcome back, America First, for this Independence Day Eve. It is Wednesday. It is July 3rd. We prepare to celebrate the birth, the creation of this great nation. 248th birthday. That's tomorrow. Today, before we send you into the holiday weekend, oh my, do we have things to assess to help.
Yes, it's going to be fantastic. Also, by the way, these guys aren't going to do a great show because they're obviously exhausted for with defending the Confederacy for the last 6 months.
Us assess them. Breitbart
And looking forward to doing it, I suppose, the rest of the year.
DC Bureau Chief Matt Boyle is here. Matt, welcome. How are you, sir?
Hey, Mark, thanks for having me.
I gotta say, this guy, Ted Cruz's voice, I'm overwhelmed with the machismo coming from the right. How can a beta male such as myself even stand in the shadow of such alpha male virility?
So you saw some of the Karine Jean-Pierre news conference. The excuses, they would say explanations, I would say excuses, seem to be he had a cold, there's jet lag, and I hate when 12 days go by and a jet trip makes me senile, and all kinds of other things. It was just an hour of beating back this White House press corps, just badgering her about her boss not being able to do the job. What is going on here, to your view?
Yeah, well, I think Karine Jean-Pierre is going to come up with a better answer than my bad for why she say.
That's the dunk. That's the dunk. Again, I want you to consider the responses you're seeing from the right, from Trump, from others on his side. And this is the dunk. This is the hole in the defense opened up that they've been looking for. The kink in the armor that allows them to get through, and this is the fiery arrow they're sending.
But the point is that she's claiming that she did know the answer and blah blah blah. She just didn't say it. The idea
Nailed it. And you can see, by the way, hold on. Pause. What is this? There we go. You can see why this guy is the Washington bureau chief.
Before the debate, the whole story leading up to the debate was how much time he was spending. He spent a whole week in hiding in the bunker at Camp David.
That's your story.
Doing supposedly debate preparation, right? Like, so the big picture.
No, that was the assumption.
Here is that the biggest story of today is that Joe Biden joined a Democrat. Kamala Harris is vice president. And Biden said he's not going anywhere. He's going to fight. He's not dropping out of the race, and he is fighting back. So that we have from him now. He has said that to his team. He is not backing down. So that's the first thing. So that means that if he's going down swinging. So the big question is he going to go down? And then if so, then who replaces him?
Then what he means is going down in the election, stupid. You're mixing your metaphors. But who am I to question the Washington bureau chief of Breitbart?
And then also, does he remain as president for the rest of the year? So the other big story of this week that came out yesterday, and that was a leak to Puck News, is Peter Hamby, where they've leaked internal Biden super PAC polling data. So this is the Democrats' own numbers. Before the debate last week, Donald Trump was already set to win in a landslide election. The numbers shifted after the debate so that it's not even just a landslide.
Hold on.
Right? Like Donald Trump
I don't know why this gets choppy in places.
It's according to the Democrats, like New Mexico, like Virginia, like New Hampshire. I mean, these are states that Republicans haven't won a presidential election in a very long time.
And they won't.
So and not to mention the fact that Trump leads across all of the traditional battleground states, if you will: Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Nevada, Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina.
Yeah. Anyways, what you're saying something about the red wave too,
right? Like, and the Democrats know that Donald Trump is on the.
Sorry. He's on the glide path to victory, is what he said.
What is the impact of all of this going to be on the Democrats' down ticket? And that's the calculation that they're going through right now. They are seriously concerned that they first will not retake the House majority. They were previously probably on a track to do that, given how slim the Republican majority in the House is. But that's looking less and less likely for them now.
Nope.
That's slipping away.
Nope. Honestly, what district of concern especially has anything to do with like who's in power? And if anything, if the belief system in those areas, purple leaning districts, or places where there's any kind of a challenge where a Democrat could take a seat from a Republican, if Donald Trump looks like the shoe-in, it drives people to push the Democrat in, if anything else. It's not like they're going to go, oh, I'm not voting for Biden, so screw this person. They're gonna be the counterbalance. I think Trump's going to win, therefore I really do have to vote for the Democrat.
And then secondly, Republicans have been on track for a U.S. Senate majority for a long time. The question,
because they have several states that have less people in them than Santa Monica.
is,
If, by the way, if it was at all territory or population based, Republicans wouldn't ever have control of the Senate.
I would have said, Republicans would be very happy with 52, 53 seats in the U.S. Senate. But now I would say that given the map that exists out there, Republicans have a pathway into the high 50s and perhaps even as many as 60 seats on a
I'll take a note of that.
really good night for the GOP on election night. If you look at the seats that are up and the ones that Democrats have to defend and the position that they're in. So the big question is what of the Biden and Kamala Harris are having behind closed.
Hold on. What conversations are they having, and are they going to replace
down
them?
ticket, right? Like, so because it's a lot easier for them to climb back into the Senate majority from 52 or 53 Republican seats than it is from 57 or 58 or 60, right? Like, and so that's the calculation that they're going through right now, and they're trying to limit the down ticket losses that they're going to face.
Yeah, no. Just for the record, and I'll let you go on this, guys. So I'm going to go join the family for dinner. The Roe v. Wade was already going to determine a huge number of voters coming out to vote against Donald Trump and for Joe Biden, or any Democrat. Any Democrat situation. Nobody's going to let Joe Biden's age outweigh their desire for women's rights. Nobody. And on top of that, the fact that the Supreme Court has now basically given the president carte blanche to do whatever. The idea that those people are suddenly like, well, Trump was louder and Biden seemed quiet and raspy. Therefore, I would rather give absolute immunity control of SEAL Team 6 to a fucking lunatic who will round up all the Latinos in the country, dump them outside the country, and they can only get back in once they've proven they were already American citizens. P.S. They didn't have time to grab their passport before it happened, so good luck in Mexico, is dumb. I'm dead serious. That's dumb. You think young people are going to vote for? I mean, you can argue that Biden might lose some votes because they don't feel like voting because they're scared of voting for him, and so they're not going to vote for Trump. But nobody's switching sides in this situation. And again, Trump's not going to get back any of the Biden or the Harris. What am I talking about? The Haley voters. He's not getting any of those back just because he was loud at the debate. They're not. It's not happening. And everything he's said since then has not reassured them that he's somehow proven himself to be in a better position than Biden. If people believe that Biden is a puppet president and he's old and he barely makes any of the decisions, they at least trust the fact that he surrounded himself with smart people who believe what they believe. And so they will be voting for that team again, the Biden-Harris team, and his ability to put together a group of competent human beings like Pete Buttigieg and Tony Blinken and those folks. They're not going to suddenly go over, you know what, fuck women. You know what, screw it. I think the president should have total immunity, and therefore I think America deserves whatever happens to it. The idea that those voters are going to come that way is just stupid. Also, again, obviously there's going to be a lot of pressure on the September debate. I have a feeling he will not have a cold or be over prepared for that one. That said, does that create think of the roundabout storyline that is created by that one if he does just fine? Yeah, loud bullshit is still bullshit. So yeah, sorry. So stop saying about saving democracy. The term democracy is too nebulous. Try to talk about saving the nation, the United States. I agree. I agree. That's that's a great distinction. Um, but there you go. Yep. I will be voting for Joe Biden, the only one of the three men that's running who did not show up on the Epstein flight logs. And the idea that this is going to somehow be a rope-a-dope or something is Biden lozenges 2024 is a distinct possibility, and it seems to be what Trump is afraid of. So happy 4th of July. I will see you guys for an afternoon show on Friday. Travel, God's willing. I will be in Jackpot, Nevada when that happens. Yeah, I'm voting for Biden. I don't know anybody who's changed their vote at all. I don't know a single young person who thinks that they're going to vote for Donald Trump, the guy who says finish the problem or referred to the people, the Palestinians in Gaza as a cancer, or who mocks trans people at every rally. If you're that kind of a young person, you were never going to vote for Joe Biden anyways. See what I mean? So, honest to God, I know everybody wants to be uptight, but I'm not feeling it. I've read all the fucking the hit pieces and the like, and they're largely talking out of their ass. And one of my favorites is, and I'll end with this. One of my favorites is when people go, "He's too old to run." They look at the polling, too old to run. He's just too old to run. He's too old. Same poll, they're still going to vote for him. What difference does it make? That just means they'd rather have a younger Joe Biden in the same position. It doesn't mean they'd rather have a Donald Trump. Come on. Come on. Seriously, is Joe Biden being old or even stammery in his decision-making process going to make you go, yeah, fuck women's rights? Seriously? And that's a vote that people are going to shift on. You really think the voting base is going to go, yeah, the Jan 6 guy? Yeah, fine. Oh, the guy who put classified documents in his fucking toilet? And you think between now and then that debate performance or even Biden's stiff back is going to be a primary talking point that will outweigh that other shit? Nope. Biden is fine. Yeah, exactly. And you are too. And I love you guys, and take care of yourselves and take care of somebody else. And I will see you guys very, very soon. When exactly? We don't know. It'll be a mystery. But I'm always here for you. Hit that like, subscribe, all that stuff. Share the show and pieces and stuff and patreon.com/HalSparks. Okay, bye.